Good morning, everyone. The Delaware County Commissioner meeting for February 1st, 2018 is now in session. Would you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning. To my right is fellow Commissioner Bob Lewis, our Vice President. Commissioner Benton is out of town today, will not be with us. Our clerk, Sarah DeNova, and our Administrator, Don Houston, sitting in today. So with that, let's begin.
Resolution number 18-96, in the matter of approving the electronic record of the proceeding from regular meeting held January 25th, 2018.
So move.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-96. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
We have no public or elected comment this morning. Resolution number 18-97, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CMA PR 0131.
So move.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-97. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-98, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So move.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-98. Mr. Merrill? Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-99, in the matter of approving a transfer of funds.
So move.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-99. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-100, in the matter of accepting the Treasury Report for the month of December 2017.
So move.
Second, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-100. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-101, in the matter of approving the DKMM County Recycling and Litter Prevention Office Program Final Status Report for 2017.
So move.
Second, discussion.
Good morning. Jennifer Way Young, Keep Delaware County Beautiful, Delaware General Health District. The second half of 2017, 15 classroom presentations were presented to almost 400 students. I worked with our public information officer. We designed a Sharps, a needles disposal card, and Recycle Right cards, which we're going to be working to be distributing to our communities or to residents around the county. We finally got the completed numbers for the 2017 Senior Citizen Appliance Electronics Pickup. We reached 91 senior citizen homes, collected about 5,700 pounds in electronics and televisions, and 6,500 pounds in appliances. We held the Scioto River Sweep, which was a huge success. 57 volunteers. We collected almost a ton of trash, 1,580 pounds of trash, and another 14 tires. We had the electronics and tire drop-offs at the fairground in October. 234 vehicles came through, 12 tons of tires, 9 tons of electronics, and just over 1 ton of paper was collected for shredding. Worked with Evans Farm. We provided the portable recycling containers for a Taste of Evan Farm event. And I'm happy to say that our recycling drop-off numbers are up by over 500,000 pounds for 2017. We just got those numbers in. So I'm happy about that. We had been on the wane for a while, and I'm not sure what happened, but we're working to get those recycling numbers up.
Is that for the 4-county district or for Delaware
Just
County?
for Delaware County. And that 500,000 pounds, remember, Ashley has been closed since last January because of the work on Buckeye Valley East Elementary School. So those residents, DKMM has directed them to go to Morrow County. So Morrow County's getting some of our numbers for that, too. So.
I know that we have another event planned this year. I don't want to put you on the spot because you may not have the date in front of you, but I saw this calendar yesterday. I think it's in October here.
Yes, October 13th, we will be doing household hazardous waste and paint. The flyers are being printed as we speak. I mean, we'll get some up to you and work with Jane to get those distributed via emails.
This is very helpful. If we don't collect it in this form and it's up in waste and landfills, and this is a much better way
Absolutely.
to collect it. And so I commend the efforts.
And again, I commend our law enforcement officers and Drug Free Delaware. We have medication disposal 24/7 at 5 different locations in our community, so we can safely dispose of those kinds of things. Our residents are really getting the message about drawing their own paint. I'm going to try to work with the Board of Realtors to get more information out about permanent, not permanent, but disposal information for hazardous waste year-round. People can go to Columbus. There is a company that does take it there, but so that it is properly disposed of.
Ms. Lewis, you have anything?
Sure. What do you think are the biggest challenges in Delaware County that we face?
Recycling-wise?
Yes, and anything else you can think of.
Well, we have lots of new people coming in, so getting the information to them as to what can be recycled and where it can be recycled and how it can be recycled.
Okay.
A lot of our communities now have contracts with a waste company, so there's one hauler in a community. Some of our smaller communities, that's not the case, but getting them to know where to go and what can be placed in that. And so again, I'm going to be surveying and talking to some of the townships to see how I can help with that. And again, our township trustees and administrators are wonderful to work with. I really am fortunate to
That's
be
great.
able to do that.
I know with the bulk of people even being in the southern part of the county, we've talked in our meetings about, DKMN meetings, about trying to get more going as far as, in particular, hazardous waste drop-off sites in the southern part of the county.
And it is difficult because it does require a lot of place, a larger facility for vehicles to go through. Jenna and I had talked with Genoa Township, and we had actually talked with Orange Township, and what it would take to do that, and both of them, again, being our largest townships, don't think that that's something that they were interested. Actually, we spoke with Powell about that as well.
Okay.
And they were all sort of like, when we told them what the logistics would be.
Sure.
So,
Well, thank you. Thanks. You're doing a great job.
thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you as well.
Vote on motion 18-101. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-102. Resolution of necessity for purchase or lease of automobiles for the use of the county sheriff or his employees.
So move.
Second, discussion?
Good morning. Scott Vance, Sheriff's Office.
You got to work on that, don't you?
I could have made the other way, I guess. This is nothing more than our continuing efforts to maintain the serviceable fleet I've talked to you many times about in the past. The vehicles are allocated out of budgeted money for 2018. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Ms. Lewis, you have any questions?
I do not.
Nor do I. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-102. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you. I'll work on my end.
Thanks.
Resolution number 18-103, in the matter of approving and authorizing the signing and submittal of the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Housing Revolving Loan Fund, semi-annual report to the Ohio Development Services Agency, Office of Community Development.
So move.
Second, discussion?
Good morning, I'm Jenna Jackson, the Economic Development Coordinator. These next two resolutions are to send the reports to the Ohio Development Services Agency for the current amounts that are in the revolving loan fund programs. This first one is for the Housing Revolving Loan Fund, and there was no significant change. I recommend your approval.
Question or discussion? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-103. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-104, in the matter of approving and authorizing the signing and submittal of the Community Development Block Grant Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund semi-annual report to the Ohio Development Services Agency, Office of Community Development.
So move.
Second, discussion?
This is for the Economic Development Revolving Loan Fund, and again, no significant change. I recommend your approval.
Vote on motion 18-104. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 18-105, in the matter of approving the purchase of equipment for Delaware County Emergency Medical Services.
So move.
Second, discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. Aaron Jennings, Assistant Chief of EMS. This purchase is for cardiac monitors and defibrillators that were included in the 2018 budget. And this purchase will allow us to first cut cost of preventative maintenance, and it will also allow us to bring full circle our CPR program that they were working hand in hand with the auto pulse CPR devices that we brought to you in 2017. And most importantly, it will allow us to have a more robust QA/QI process and treatment protocol that will ultimately improve care to the residents and citizens, or residents and visitors of Delaware County. We recommend your approval.
Questions or comments?
No.
Vote on motion 18-105. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
While you're here...
Yes, sir.
And well, Chief, I'm going to read a letter that Commissioner Lewis and look like you may have it in your hands. Is that what?
No, I don't. This is actually Bill's.
It's regarding your department, so I thought I would take this moment when you guys are standing there to read it. It's regarding honor flights, and it's directed to Commissioner Lewis, Commissioner Merrill, Commissioner Benton, and, of course, Chief Schuling. And it says, Dear Commissioners and Chief Schuling, we are writing to express our appreciation for the dedication of 4 paramedics working for Delaware County EMS. Krista Gardner, Ryan Porter, Julie Jones, and Mike Sharon took time from their schedules to fly as guardians with Honor Flights Columbus during our 2017 flight season. Not only did they spend an evening for pre-flight training and an 18-hour flight day with us, but all guardians pay for their seat on the flight to ensure we are able to fly as many veterans as possible. At Honor Flights Columbus, our mission is to honor, share, and celebrate. We honor our nation's senior veterans with a trip to Washington, D.C. to visit their war memorials at no cost to them. We share their stories for the benefit of future generations. We celebrate their homecoming, affirming their allegiance and service to our country. We take senior veterans from World War II, Korean, and Vietnam eras, with ages ranging from late 60s to nearly 100 years. Having competent, qualified, and dedicated medically trained guardians ensures that our mission is achieved in a manner that ensures the health and safety of the veterans we fly. It means a great deal to our veterans and their families to know that they are well cared for while on the trip. The above paramedics truly reflect the values our incredible public servants have. I want you to know how well they represented Delaware County. We look forward to having their support on our 2018 flights. Signed, Bonnie Sparhawk, Executive Director, and Carolyn Barger, Executive Assistant Director. I just thought it appropriate to read it while you two were here. So I don't know if you have any comments.
Well, I'll just, before the chief speaks, the Honor Flight organization, if anybody is not familiar with it, I would definitely recommend it. It is a wonderful, it's personally affected my family, and it is a wonderful organization to take the vets to Washington, D.C. to not only fellowship together, but to see that the wonderful monument. The one thing I'll say before the chief speaks, like I said, is that I want to make sure that this is no reflection on the management of Delaware County EMS. This is our folks who are professionals and want to give back to the community, and this was kind of a grassroots thing that they did on their own. So I think this is a perfect picture
and that
of
makes it more special.
Yeah, this is something they did on their own. It just reflects the type of people that we have here in Delaware County. So they did a great job to all of those who were involved. So
I echo his sentiments as well. Mike Schuling, Chief of EMS. I was not expecting that email at all, but when I receive emails like that, I burst with pride. Just as Assistant Chief Jennings said, this is something that these individuals have done on their own. While it was distributed through our department to individuals, what the hallmark is these people did it on their own, and they paid out of their own pocket for the flight seats, the food, and any lodging that goes along with it. So it's an incredible program, and I am exceedingly proud of our people for doing it. What's more is that as I sent that out to the department to show a little respect to these individuals, we had a lot more people that are interested in doing that program. So one of the other things is they asked me, Chief, am I allowed to wear my uniform when I do this? And obviously I said yes, because again, that is definitely a portrayal of who they are in our department and them being true servants. I think in EMS, that's one of the things that we forget is emergency medical services, and we are true servants, and this is a testament to those people. So thank you for reading that, Commissioner.
Most welcome. Commissioner Lewis, you have anything you want to add?
Oh, I think it's great. I'm so glad that you read it. Did we mention the individuals?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes,
Okay,
right.
great. Oh, there we go.
I do have one correction. It is not Ryan Porter, it is actually Brian Porter. I think that, I'm sure he's going to listen to this today. I'm going to tell him that it was read, but I think it's important to say it is Brian Porter and not Ryan Porter.
Well, I extend my apologies. I read what I hit the letter, so, but regardless, whether the name's Ryan or Brian, well done.
Sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you,
I'm so
Commissioners.
glad you read it. Thank you.
Again, thank you, and pass on our appreciation, and it is a great program, and I just can't say enough how, and they do a number of flights. I know Carolyn Reed was very involved here in Delaware City, so thank you again very
You're
much.
welcome.
Before I read the next one, it is incorrect the way you have it. I will read it in the way it should be read, so we don't have to make any changes.
Okay?
Resolution number 18-106, in the matter of authorizing the submitting of an application to the Federal Emergency Management Agency Assistance to Firefighter Grant for striker cots and load systems.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
Commissioners, again, this is the Assistance to Firefighters grant that we applied for pretty much every year. As you're aware, last year we were awarded the grant for the Zoll Auto Pulses CPR devices. This year we're applying to place or purchase the Stryker auto load cot systems in all of our ambulances. If awarded, we would outfit all of our ambulances with these cot systems. It is a 10% match. I don't have that number in front of me because my assistant chief took my docket. So it is a 10% match, and
$38,780.
that's it. Thank you, Commissioner. I'm unprepared. See, there he is to back me up. $38,780. This is a budgeted item. Initially, in the budget, if you recall, we requested almost twice this number for this match. It came in actually at half. We do have two of these cot systems, one full cot system in place at this time, and it's done an excellent job of decreasing the risks of back injuries to our paramedics as well as the safety to the patient as well. So I would recommend your approval to the application of this grant.
Questions or comments?
No questions.
Vote on motion 18-106. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 18-107, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer subdividers agreement for Heather Ridge, Section 1.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
Morning, Commissioners. Tiffany Mag with the Regional Sewer District. This is our standard sanitary sewer subdividers agreement for a subdivision with 32 homes in this section. It's off of Hyatt's Road, just west of Stites. So, any questions?
Discussion, comments, vote?
Vote on motion 18-107. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-108, in the matter of accepting sanitary sewer improvements for Cider Ridge Crossing, Section 1, and Cider Ridge Crossing, Section 2.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
These sewers have been installed and have met all of our requirements, so we're recommending your approval for their use.
Questions or comments? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-108. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-109, in the matter of certification of delinquent accounts to the county auditor for accounts to be assessed to be payable year 2019 taxes.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
The certification that we have here is pretty much right in line with the average of what we typically assess. I think it's $23,000 less than last quarter, but it is in line with what we typically see in January. So we recommend your approval.
Always disappointing that you would think people could pay their bills and it wouldn't be necessary, but
I know.
we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, the previous resolution that allows this, it's actually for anyone that's over 90 days past due. So a lot of these are $100 bills. They're not significant, so.
Okay.
Vote?
Vote on motion 18-109. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thanks.
Resolution number 18-110, in the matter of approving a permit for the use of Delaware County facilities.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Hawes, Communications Manager. I have with me this morning Judge Hemanowski. He has submitted a facilities permit request that's before you for use of the second-floor courtroom in the historic courthouse, and I will let him explain for what very novel use he's putting it to. So.
Apparently, I'm the novelty act today.
As the commissioners, I think, are aware, the Delaware County Bar Association and Arena Fair, the Delaware's community theater, have, over the last 3 years, staged 2 productions which have raised money for the fledgling Delaware County Bar Foundation. 3 years ago, it was a musical production, which was a pretty substantial undertaking of 1776, the story of the Declaration of Independence.
Well done. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Great.
Last year, here in your meeting room across the hall, it was the King Mutiny Court Martial. And we've gone a little back to the classic stage productions relating to the law here, and are staging a production this year of 12 Angry Men. The play was actually originally written in 1954 by Reginald Rose for a CBS television production called Studio One. He adapted it the following
Westinghouse.
year. What's that?
Westinghouse.
Yes, he adapted it the following year for the stage. And Henry Fonda, having seen that stage production, purchased the rights and actually funded the movie version in 1957 that most people are now familiar with. It's actually the 55 stage script that we're using here. The production includes 6 lawyers and 6 non-lawyers in the cast as the 12 jurors, and those 6 lawyers include myself. I actually get to play the bad guy this time, which has strangely been a lot of fun.
I thought you'd be Henry Fonda.
Yeah, no, I'm actually the last holdout. I am the last person insisting that the
B.J. Cobb, right?
that the defendant is guilty. The Lee J. Cobb role, exactly. So I get to
I'm not.
So I get to
It's a
yell.
good movie, though.
I get to yell, "Let me at him! I'll kill him," which is a lot of fun. And like I said, playing the bad guy has been a different challenge. Mark Fowler from the prosecutor's office also involved. Greg Patterson from the AG's office is directing. Again, as I indicated, there are a number of other lawyers and non-lawyers in the cast. We originally talked about asking you to do it again across the hall here in the meeting room, and in, I think, our second rehearsal, the light bulb just went on, and I said, wait a minute, that second floor courtroom, what older lawyers like me refer to as Judge Shaw's courtroom, but what other lawyers would refer to as Judge Whitney's courtroom or Judge Gormley's courtroom on the second floor, is just the perfect place to do this, because obviously the setting is great. It's appropriate for a courtroom drama, not that the jury would be deliberating in the courtroom. They wouldn't, obviously, but the seating is perfect. I mean, folks can sit in the jury box. They can sit in the gallery there. It also allows folks back into the historic courthouse here, and a nice use of that space while we're in the process of figuring out what's going to happen for the renovations in that building. My only concern was what the shape of the building was, whether it was heated, what was going on, whether it was going to be available for use. So I reached out to John Melvin, and John, I hope I'm not putting words in his mouth, but John seemed very excited about the possibility. He thought that it was a great use of the space. The heat is on to make sure pipes don't freeze and things like that in the building. There is still maintenance work and other cleanup work going on. We've actually been rehearsing there for the last 3 weeks, just the small group of us, and the space is just ideal for this use. The show will be February 23rd, 24th, and 25th, assuming you give us the okay to do it there, with weekend matinees and Friday and Saturday evening shows. I'm
Great.
happy to answer any questions you have.
Commissioner List?
No, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Portion of the proceeds will go to the County Bar Foundation. Portion of the proceeds obviously go back to Arena Fair to cover the costs of producing the show, getting the rights to do it, the scripts, things of that.
I have seen that movie a couple of times, and also seen the later version was made, I think, in the 90s.
There was a version in the 90s, I think, with Jack Lemmon, if I recall correctly, in that role.
It was an excellent movie, and I know you guys are going to live up to those high standards.
Thank you.
I think it's a great, as that building has transitioned from its courthouse to whatever it looks like after remodeling, I think it's fantastic that that this is kind of a transition that I think is certainly appropriate, and I'm looking forward to seeing it myself.
I think some members of the public may come just because they want to see the courtroom, more than anything else, just to have the access to the building. Speaking of access to the building, at the moment, the only access in are the key cards to the back door, we're able to get in to rehearse because my key card and Mark Fowler's key card open that back door. What we anticipate is, because this is a very limited setting, the remainder of the doors in the building are locked. The office doors are locked. You can't get in anywhere else in the building without the key card. We'll simply have the rest of the building locked down. Folks will come in. We'll manage the back door access to the building for the shows. The only place they'll be able to go in the building is the courtroom. As soon as the production is over, we'll make sure that folks all leave and then lock the building again when we're done. So there shouldn't be any ongoing security. And actually, the other really good thing that works about doing it here is there's nothing else going on in that building. So we don't have any sort of ongoing security concerns, Monday morning when people come back in to the building because there isn't anything else going on in the building at the moment. So it really makes it an ideal setting.
Very good. I've already said my opinion of this. Commissioner Lewis is obviously excited as well, so I think it's great use and I think it's a great idea. So with that, I think we're ready to vote.
Vote on motion 18-110. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Resolution number 18-111, in the matter of approving a joint application by the prosecuting attorney and the Delaware County Board of Commissioners to authorize the appointment of the firm Taft, Statonitis, and Hollister LLP to advise, represent, prosecute on behalf of, and/or defend the board in and as related to the multi-district litigation currently pending against manufacturers and distributors of opioid medications.
So moved.
Second, discussion. You have some comments?
I do. The commissioners have honored me with taking the lead in our Stepping Up program. Stepping Up is a program to ensure that nonviolent offenders who face the challenges of mental illness are not just put in a revolving door through our jails. And in that endeavor, I'm glad the judge is here too, because I've been able to work with so many of our other departments, prosecutor, sheriff, our judges. Judge Hemanowski has been involved in the Stepping Up program too, our corrections, and I have really seen the scourge of the opioid epidemic here in Delaware County. So I would like to make just a couple comments. I am voting today for Delaware County to join as a plaintiff in this multi-jurisdictional litigation against the manufacturers and distributors of the addictive opioid medications that have crippled our community. I do so because they owe us and should help us pay the costs of the terrible damage they have caused. Delaware County is not alone. The opioid crisis is everywhere, and it is affecting everyone. The problem is obvious, and it is disheartening. Many good families in our community are terribly afflicted by the opioid addiction. At the same time, due to these lifetime addictions, every Delaware County taxpayer is facing the increased costs of emergency services, hospitalization, and recovery services. Joining this litigation on a contingent recovery fee basis will not cost Delaware County any money, and in the long run will save thousands of taxpayer dollars that would otherwise be spent on recovery and prevention efforts. I'm convinced that the legal counsel we are retaining is top-notch and dedicated to achieving a prompt and favorable result for Delaware County. These are the reasons why I am voting to approve this resolution, and I wish our retained counsel all successes in achieving full justice for Delaware County.
I also have a comment. Smiling. So it's a little tougher decision for me. As I have said, there's a philosophical perspective and there's a pragmatic perspective. The philosophical perspective, which would result in me voting no if I went that direction, has to do with the villains in this. I'm not suggesting for a second the distributors do not play a role, but they have been fined by the federal government. To some degree, you could argue they've already faced and been accounted for in that regard. But the doctors who overprescribe, those who provide the drugs illegally also play a role in this. And unfortunately, doctors who overprescribe are much harder to target and sue for damages, and the distributors are there's 3 major distributors, and so I really think that the doctors who are involved in this should be part of this philosophically, but that it's just not practical. So I guess back to the practical part of it. I do feel that in my role as commissioner, I have a fiscal responsibility for this county and the taxpayers in this county. Believe there will ultimately be a settlement, and if we don't participate in this, then the taxpayers in this county would not be able to participate in that settlement. So for practical reasons, I support it. Philosophically, I do have some concerns that part of the villains in this are not part of the lawsuit, and they're not being affected and paying their fair share of it. But with that, I will vote yes today, but I did feel it important to state that for the record. So with that, is there any other comments or questions?
Well, I was just wondering if we do have counsel here, if they could give us just a synopsis of where the suit is, what the suit entails and where it is right now.
Good morning. David Butler with Taft, Stettinius & Hollister. I'm here with my partner, Steve Kuckler. It's our honor to be here and to be engaged by Delaware County in this important public health lawsuit. As referenced, this lawsuit would be filed in federal court in the Southern District of Ohio. Shortly after it being filed, it will be what's called tagged and sent up to a current multi-district litigation that is going on up in Cleveland in front of District Judge Polster. So there are a number, hundreds of lawsuits that are currently up in this multi-district litigation. So this lawsuit would join the others in Ohio and throughout the country that would be part of that multi-district litigation. As widely reported, Judge Polster is taking a very active effort to try to bring a resolution quickly to this MDL litigation. It was our group's application to form the MDL, which was granted, and the whole reason for doing that is to try to get all of these lawsuits that otherwise are going piecemeal across the country and leading to lots of uncertainty and different outcomes in different courts, and try to get them in one spot where a resolution like this is possible, where the judge can bring all the people that need to be brought to the table to bring a global resolution to this very important public health crisis. And that's what's going on here. We are very, very proud to represent Delaware County in joining this litigation. After the passage of today's resolution, we will need to apply to the court here for permission to enter into the contingency fee, and once that's been approved, we can file the lawsuit, which will probably take a week or so. And then, I'm happy to answer whatever other questions there might be, but that's at a 30,000-foot level, that's what's going on and what I anticipate the next steps would be here.
I know, pardon me, in the hearing before the judge, he mentioned that he would like to actually have some resolution this year.
Yes, that's his timetable, that's correct.
He
wants to get this done in 2018.
In 2018?
That's
okay.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-111. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
That brings us to administrative reports.
Nothing today, thank you.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes, I bet you were going to report on this, too.
That?
Right there. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Chief Wilson's retirement. Both Commissioner Merrill and I were at Chief Wilson's retirement. Chief Wilson, the chief of BST&G. Okay.
Yes, good at that.
Yeah. Okay. Berlin? I'll try it. Berkshire.
Galena?
Well, yeah, Galena's included.
Yeah, go
Berkshire.
ahead.
Okay, anyway, the retirement party was really very, very moving. The chief has done so many good things, of course, growing that department, which is right outside of Sunbury, and provided great service for the people in his multi-district area. But also, he's been a leader in the 911. In particular, getting our recent 911 levy passed. He headed that committee. And so all the fire chiefs were there, EMS, many local people, too, from the Sunbury area and the other township areas, too. So very, very moving ceremony. That's it.
I'll just tag along on those comments. I had the privilege of rereading the resolution that we read in session last Thursday and received a very nice letter from his wife after that because he was able to we stream our session, so last Thursday he heard it, and she said it really meant a lot to him. So privileged to reread that yesterday, and I'd say there's well over 100 people in attendance. I've known Chief Wilson for the last 4 or 5 years as we both participate in the 911 board. And as I said yesterday, I may have said last week, when we had a 911 levy and we had that duplicate area that we philosophically, philosophy I guess is important, the area of being duplicate of paying taxes, we didn't think it was fair that you should pay taxes twice, and the area that's in Columbus is paying to Columbus as well. But it required a change in law because the commissioners could only approve a county-wide levy. We couldn't exclude areas. And so it required work on our part to do what we believed was the right thing. And to hear Chief Wilson, as he gave testimony down there and how eloquent he was and how great a job he did, certainly pushed us probably over the top as he explained, because it was difficult to explain to the representatives who really weren't that familiar with it. And I gained a lot of respect going through that process with him. He's been a great leader in our county, certainly in that area, and he'll be missed as he retires. And we wish him the best in retirement as he deals with some challenges that he's facing. So with that, God bless Chief Wilson and his family, and my prayers, and I'm certain Commissioner Lewis's prayers and thoughts, and Commissioner Benton, if he was here, are with him as well. So with that, I have nothing else today.
Well, Berkshire, Sunbury, Trenton, and Galena, I had to get that out. Thank you.
I always have to think about it. I actually was writing it down here just to make sure I got it right, and I forgot to bring it up. I don't believe we need to have executive session today. With that, if there's no other business to bring before the commissioners, we stand adjourned.